Happy Monday and welcome in to this live edition of NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending part of your Monday afternoon here on the channel. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest NFL news and rumors talking about DeAndre Hopkins, Dalvin Cook, and the Buffalo Bills making some big-time moves today. We'll go over all that and more coming up in a matter of moments. Speaking of Dalvin Cook, we have a breakdown of the top destinations of where Dalvin Cook could land, and we have not one but two Q&A mailbags today. Shout out your hometown, not necessarily where you're watching from, but the place that you call home. Represent your city and let us know where that is at. Maybe it's the place you graduated high school from or the place you've lived most of your life, whatever it may be. Whatever you call home, your hometown, let us know in the comments section. We'll shout you out as you shout out where you are from. I see Ruski checking in from Fresno, California, home of the Fresno State Bulldogs. Let us know where else you guys are at today, and that is an easy way to interact and get your name called out on today's show. Just let us know where you are watching from. Tyler Jones here. My hometown, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, home of the Tigers. Always love any chance to get to mention the BA. Holden's from Minnesota. Where in Minnesota? Hometown. Give me the city associated, Holden. I got Prophet of Rage from Morrisdale, Pennsylvania. Prospect Highlights from Sacramento, California. I got Holden. There we go. Good work, Holden, from Lamberton, Minnesota. Trace Gerard in the house with me as well. Trace, what is the town you would refer to as your hometown?
So my hometown, Plano, Texas, just north of Dallas. Grew up out here, been living in the DFW area my whole life outside of college where I attended the University of Arkansas, but home sweet home is DFW, baby. Dallas, Texas, Plano, Texas. But, Broken Arrow, it's a good spot.
Hey,
some good people out there.
BA is very good people. Very good folks indeed. Plano, I was just in Plano yesterday. Plano, a lot of respect for Plano. Great city.
Oh, yeah. A lot of fun things to do out there. A lot of good people, good food.
You got a Kia out there?
You got an IKEA. Yeah, what more could you want? You got an IKEA and an HEB. You got it all,
That's what every town dreams of.
Exactly.
Let's see. Who else is in the chat? John Edward Kruger, South Carolina. Where in South Carolina? Hometown, not state. Nicholas Washington Jones checking in from Detroit, Michigan. Let's see. Got Matt in Jamestown, Pennsylvania. Jamestown, a very historic city in the U.S. I got OMG Gerald in Las Vegas, Nevada. Viva Las Vegas. Not Nevada, by the way. You're a cop if you say Nevada. It's Nevada. Also got Joseph checking in from Columbia, Maryland. I was in Maryland last week, actually. Crim's dad, the legend from Giants Now, is checking in from his house. Juan Hernandez in Las Vegas. I got Choppy State Road in State Road, North Carolina. John Edward Kruger says Columbia, South Carolina, but really started growing up as a kid in Kings Tree, South Carolina. I got Nicholas Ritchie in Lake Zurich, Illinois. So very cool. Everybody shouting out their hometowns. That's great to see here today. Who was the best addition to a team, any team this offseason? There's a number of ways you could go with this. You could go free agency. You could talk trades, draft, whatever it may be. A lot of different ways you could go. Trace, the biggest of those, I think, this offseason was probably the New York Jets getting Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's the one that jumps off the page. But like we mentioned, there's a lot of different ways that you could go with this answer. What would be the one that stands out to you?
So an interesting one that I feel like a lot of people may overlook is OBJ to the Ravens. I think that was a big move. OBJ obviously didn't play last year, but you team him up with Lamar Jackson. I think it was a pretty good move. I also like what Nicholas said, the DJ Moore trade to the Bears for that first overall pick. That whole package was really interesting. I think it was a really good move by the Bears to make that trade.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Richard saying DJ Moore to the Bears, as you mentioned. Nicholas says Tremaine Edmonds to the Bears. That's another good one. The Bears had a very active offseason in 2023. Christopher says Juju Smith-Schuster to the Patriots. I'm not a big Juju fan, if I'm going to be honest with y'all. Juju, I think that you replace Jacoby Myers with the same guy. I did not see that as much of an upgrade there, to be honest. Maybe even worse. Choppy71 says Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. Ruski with a pretty good answer here. I like this too. The Jalen Ramsey trade to the Dolphins. They completely robbed the Rams. Well, they took on the contract, though. That's a lot of money they're taking on. I don't know if I'd call it a robbing, but I get what you mean. Nicholas says Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to the Lions. Matt says Patrick Peterson to the Steelers. Pelicans Nola says Jamal Williams to the Saints. Trace, that was a big move for your Saints.
Yes, sir. I love that move. Shout out Pelicans Nola. I see you in the chat, my man. Good to see you, brother.
Christopher Flores already speaking it into existence. DeAndre Hopkins to the New England Patriots. Now, that seems like a reach. It's not impossible, but a lot of things would have to go right for the Patriots to get DeAndre Hopkins. Trace, where do you think ultimately we see DeAndre Hopkins end up?
I really feel like the Bills might make one more push to try and go get him. I think that's a team to look out for. But I hate to say it, if the team's going to try and make it happen and just go crazy, the Chiefs. I mean, team him up with Patrick Mahomes, and that's just unbelievable.
Two teams in particular for me that come to mind. The Dallas Cowboys need to get Dak one more weapon. We've talked about that for a long time, that they need to get that receiving core up to speed, that they really missed Amari Cooper last year. But don't forget about the Detroit Lions as well. Detroit is the one team that you're looking at could offer the money that DeAndre Hopkins is looking for, and then also put him on a contending team as well. So we'll see where that goes. Monica says New Orleans. John says Chiefs ain't getting him. Flores says, ooh, why the Bills? Well, the Bills are a contending team. They're very, very close to getting where they want to go. So we got two mailbags today. Not one, but two. And if you got a question for me, or if you got a question for Trace for that matter too, whatever it may be, if you want to get your questions in the mailbag, easiest way to do so is using the hashtag NFL or Super Chat. And if you Super Chat, that gets you to the front of the line. So if you see the dollar sign in the chat box that says, say, just below where it says say something, that gets your question first in line, and we will get to those questions first. Those are priority here. It's the only way we can guarantee that we get to your question is if you Super Chat us. So we make this show free, but if you can help us and help out the channel and help support us by Super Chatting, certainly that goes a long way, and we would certainly appreciate it. Questions today on the mailbag, not one, but two, coming up your way later on. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get your questions in. Just before we get started, as we continue the build-up portion of today's show, encourage you to shout out your favorite team and add a player you would like to add. So whoever your team is, who is one guy that your team could use that you would like to see? Trace, I'll start. Who's the player you'd like to see the Saints add here?
Man, I'd want to see him go get another linebacker. I was really pulling for Leonard Floyd, but over the weekend the Bills were active. So I'd like to see another linebacker get it added. Man, it's just the linebacker market's not that appealing anymore. So there's not a lot of great options. There's like an Anthony Barr out there. There's Quan Alexander. So, I think a linebacker would make some sense. What about you, Tyler? Who are some teams that you think need to make some additions?
So I'll go through the chat first, then I'll get my answer here. John says the Bills with DeAndre Hopkins. Richard says the Bears with Yannick Ngakoue. Rusky says the Dolphins with Dalvin Cook. Nicholas says the Bears with Yannick Ngakoue. Been saying it for weeks for Justin Houston. Christopher says Devin White. Nicholas says the Lions and D-Hop. Holden says the Vikings and Marcus Peters. Shamari says the Patriots and D-Hop. 7414 says John Johnson to the Chargers. And then NFL Fan Zone getting a question in for the mailbag later. Thank you for that. I'll give one for all three teams I cover here. Let's start with the Seahawks. In a perfect world, go get Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets.
Boom.
Try to make a deal, get that done. It seems unlikely, but if you could get Quinnen Williams, all of a sudden your defense changes completely.
Yep.
And the Seahawks already look like one of the top four teams in the NFC. You get Quinnen Williams, you belong in the discussion to be one of the best teams in the NFC potentially. You go to the Ravens, and they have had a very eventful offseason to this point with bringing in OBJ, Zay Flowers with that first-round pick, the new deal for Lamar Jackson. But one familiar name that could really help out the Baltimore Ravens right now? Justin Houston. Just bring him back. He had 9.5 sacks last year. And despite him being in his mid-30s, he still has something left and something to offer for the Baltimore Ravens. I would love to see Justin Houston come back. And then as far as the New England Patriots go, DeAndre Hopkins. Now, there was reports out this past week, that the Patriots have concerns about how much of a fit he could be in the locker room. But we've seen what Bill Belichick has done with veteran receivers, with the likes of Randy Moss to Wes Welker to others. When they get to New England and learn the Patriot way, their ways could change. So there's something to think about there. Nicholas says, didn't the Seahawks just sign Draymond Jones? They did at the beginning of free agency, but they still need help on the interior of the defensive line there, Nicholas. Let's see. What else we got here? Monica and Prophet shouting out their teams. Juan says the Raiders and Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters still sitting out there at this point. If you're ready to start today's show, go ahead and drop us a like on today's video. I'm at 69. Nice number of viewers right now. And we got 22 likes. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask, can we get at least half our audience to smash that like button and show us some love and start today's show? If you hit that like button, that helps out the algorithm. That way we can get this show out to as many people as possible. Encourage you to get involved, get active in that chat today. Whatever questions you got, we'd love to hear from you. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Let's go ahead and get those likes. When we get to 40 likes, we can officially begin today's show. I only need about 6 more to reach that milestone. I'm going to put it in the chat box right now. Encourage you guys to like today's video. That way we can get started here on this live edition of NFL Daily here on this Monday. 4 more likes away. While we wait on those 4 likes, let's tell you what's on tap here today. Got news and rumors on deck. The latest on DeAndre Hopkins, Dalvin Cook, and more. Also got not 1 but 2 Q&A mailbags today. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get your questions on today's show. And also we will do a segment looking at the top destinations for Dalvin Cook. It looks like his days with the Minnesota Vikings appear to be numbered. Could he be traded? Could he be released? Whatever it may be, where are his most likely destinations where he could ultimately end up? We'll tell you about it coming up in just a matter of moments. 3 likes away from starting today's show, and we'll begin with the news and rumors here on this Monday afternoon. 39, 1 away. Trace, we all set? We good to go? All right. Let's get after it. NFL Daily here on a Monday. Let's start with the latest NFL news and rumors from across the league. Welcome in, NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. That's his rumors mailbag. Okay, hold on. False start. False start on the offense. We'll try again, folks. No worries about that. Live show. Stuff happens sometimes. We'll get that here coming up in just a moment. One more time here. What's on deck? NFL news and rumors, 2 Q&A mailbags, and we'll also talk top destinations for Dalvin Cook. Try again. We all good, Trace? All right. Here we go. One more time. Welcome in to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest news and rumors from across the National Football League. We'll be talking about DeAndre Hopkins, Dalvin Cook, and the Buffalo Bills making some big-time moves. We'll go over all of that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channels. We're talking about the National Football League each and every day with the latest happenings from across the NFL with daily news and rumor segments. We got live shows during the week as well. And then during the NFL season, we'll be bringing you our Red Zone channel with live coverage of every game as it's happening in real time. If you love the NFL, this is the channel for you. Subscribe for free today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did. Let's start with DeAndre Hopkins. He was released by the Arizona Cardinals just over a week ago. And now we have details emerging on the type of contract that D-Hop is seeking at this point. What exactly is he looking for from the next team that he could go to? Well, here's more from NBC Sports. 2 league executives told The Athletic's Tim Graham that Hopkins wants a deal similar to what the Baltimore Ravens gave Odell Beckham Jr., who signed a one-year deal worth $15 million guaranteed with another $3 million in incentives. So with that, it's worth noting that when you look at that contract that OBJ got, if D-Hop is looking for something similar, although it certainly jumped off the page how much money OBJ got coming off a year where he did not play, and there's questions about his long-term health and how available he could be this upcoming year. Of that contract that OBJ got for this upcoming season, despite all that money, close to about $4 million is all that counts against the cap. So if you're looking to sign D-Hop, you may be saying, well, we can't afford it right now. You could structure it potentially the way the Ravens did with OBJ, or maybe that not that much counts against the cap. Now, as far as that $15 million number, there are 4 teams that could pay that as it stands right now. The Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions, the New York Jets, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Cowboys are the ones in particular that stand out of having that cap space if they just want to take it exactly as is without, deferring money elsewhere as far as that goes. That would be the team that stands out. The Patriots were a team that has been talked about, although there were reports within the last couple of days questioning if D-Hop would be a good culture fit. Obviously, the Bills and the Chiefs have been a big factor in the equation, but D-Hop's expected to take some visits and see ultimately where he could fit. But this contest appears to be wide open without any end in sight anytime soon of where D-Hop ultimately will go. Now, our pinned comment today, let's ask you, where will DeAndre Hopkins sign in NFL free agency? Tell us what you think in the comment section where you ultimately think he will go. Give me one team that will sign DeAndre Hopkins. Tell me what you think in the comment section below and let me know. Now, let's shift gears and talk about Dalvin Cook. A new report released on Dalvin Cook, according to the Miami Herald, says that if he is released from the Minnesota Vikings, the Dolphins are a real possibility to sign Cook. Not a foregone conclusion, but things appear to be headed that direction. Now, according to this report, the Dolphins don't have any interest in a trade, but they appear to be among the favorites should he hit the open market in free agency. More from the Miami Herald's Barry Jackson. I have been led to believe it's not a done deal. Could Cook end up here? Absolutely. It's certainly a real possibility. If he's cut by Minnesota, there would be interest on both sides. But from my understanding, there's not some secret agreement between the parties. We'll get to more on Dalvin Cook and why Miami could be a fit here in just 1 second. Before we do, NFL hats are on sale now. You can get yours today at chatsports.com/NFL hats. You can see I love that Seahawk hat. The Dolphin hat is looking snazzy. The old school Denver Broncos logo with the flat bill. Maybe you're a Falcons fan. Whoever your favorite team is, we have hats for all different shapes and sizes and teams and colors, whatever you're feeling. Father's Day just around the corner. You know Dad needs a new hat to be supporting his team. What are you waiting for? Get yours today at chatsports.com/NFL hats to get yours now. Wall supplies last. Shipping available in time for Father's Day still at chatsports.com/NFL hats. Get yours now while supplies last. So at the moment, Dalvin Cook is still a member of the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings are still seeking a trade for Dalvin Cook. It's kind of like, they're calling out for Bueller in attendance right now. Anybody want to take Dalvin Cook at this point? So far, no takers on Dalvin Cook, which sets up a potential release for Dalvin Cook to see him move on that way. He's owed about $10.4 million this year. Only $2 million of that is guaranteed, though, which make things easier for the Vikings if they ultimately do have to cut him for the former four-time Pro Bowler who's been there 4 straight years from 2019 to 2022. What I would expect from the Minnesota Vikings is to kind of take their time to evaluate the market as they've done and see if they can get anything. Just anything, even a 6th, 7th round pick, whatever it may be, for somebody to take Dalvin Cook off their hands. I mean, For goodness sakes, this is a guy that rushed for over 1,000 yards still last year, right? They're trying everything they can to see if they can get anything from him. And then, if they don't, then they release him, and he gets the $2 million that's guaranteed, and you move on from there as far as that situation goes. So I could very well see the Vikings dragging this on and just hoping that somebody pays them something to take Dalvin Cook off their hands. But the longer this goes, other teams can just sit back and wait and realize, you know what, we don't have to give up anything because he's going to be a free agent here in no time. We can get him for a cheaper contract and not to have to give up any assets. So I expect this to go on a little longer. Will Dalvin Cook play for the Miami Dolphins this season? What do you think? Tell us in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. Will Dalvin Cook play for the Dolphins or not? Tell us what you think in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. The Buffalo Bills made some big-time moves over the weekend. The Bills had high expectations entering 2022 as the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Ultimately, they got knocked out in the divisional round for the second straight year. But now they've extended defensive tackle Ed Oliver, and they also signed Leonard Fournette over the weekend. Let's tell you about the details of both those situations for the Bills. Ed Oliver's extension is 4 years and $68 million. 45 of that is fully guaranteed, and this is on top of the Bills picking up Ed Oliver's fifth-year option last season. There was a lot of speculation that the Bills would try to trade Ed Oliver, that maybe they would let somebody else pay that money and try to get something in return. Ultimately, they're going all in on the former top 10 overall draft pick with the money that they're giving him there. Meanwhile, Leonard Floyd, a one-year deal, still waiting on some details of what that deal exactly looks like. This late in the ball game, the expectation was wherever Leonard Floyd signed, it would be a one-year prove-it contract of some sorts to show his worth and then try to get that long-term contract next offseason. I'd expect that to be the case here with the Buffalo Bills, a team that's already stacked. In fact, it reunites Leonard Floyd with Von Miller. Remember, they played together on that Super Bowl champion defense there with the Los Angeles Rams just a few years ago. So there's the familiarity there on a team that's already stacked to add a dynamic player like Leonard Floyd on that front. The odds for the Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills are at plus 800 right now. That's tied for the second highest of any team in the National Football League in this point. They're tied with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs still the favorites according to BetUS as of this afternoon, but the Bills appear to be right there behind Kansas City as one of the favorites to win it all. What will the Bills' record be in 2023? Will we see them come out with the AFC Championship title? Is this the year the Bills break through, or will it be another letdown year for the Buffalo Bills? Tell us in the comment section what you believe the Bills' record will be in 2023. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there talking about the National Football League, and I'll see you next time right here on NFL Daily. All right, one segment down. We have 3 more to go. Q&A mailbag up next. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the show. And asking you guys what the Bills' record will be. Prospect Highlights says 17-0. Don't see that happening. Junior says 12-3. Also don't see that happening. They're not going to play just 15 games. Rusky says 14-3. There we go. 17 games played. Let's see. OMG Gerald says Bills 11-6. Where will DeAndre Hopkins sign in free agency? Still remains available at this point. We mentioned some of the teams earlier, like the Lions, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bills, among others. If I were to guess right now, my money is on the Detroit Lions, of giving him the best of both, of the money he wants and to be on a playoff caliber team. To me, that makes the most sense, the Detroit Lions, of where DeAndre Hopkins will end up. Trace, what say you? What do you think is going to be the destination for DeAndre Hopkins here?
You know, I really like the possibility of him ending up with the Lions. I think that's a sneaky one. I think it's one that people aren't talking about enough, especially considering they have Jamison Williams dealing with that suspension with the gambling issue and blah, blah, blah. I think it's, a sneaky team to look out for. I didn't really consider the Lions too much, but then, after you laid out the teams that had the money, the teams that could fit the bill that he wants, the Lions are a sneaky team to look out for. They've also had a very aggressive offseason with trades, free agency, all sorts of stuff.
I feel like if the Bills or Chiefs, who we've been saying, those are the two teams that have been the favorites, if they really wanted him, that they would have gotten him by now to keep him away from the other one. If the arms race between those two teams, the fact that he sat there this long, that tells me that there is more opportunities beyond Buffalo and Kansas City. And you look at DeAndre Hopkins, and at this point in his career, there's only so many years left where you can take advantage of getting the money you want. Detroit being a team that fits the bill for both, to me, watch out for the Detroit Lions to land DeAndre Hopkins. Checking in on the chat, the Trek reviewer says Buffalo will get D-Hop. Squads Barkley says D-Hop should go to the Chiefs. That's his best option to be a number one and win a ship. You might be right, but I don't think the money is there in Kansas City, and D-Hop sounds like he wants both. Daniel says the Chiefs won a Super Bowl without a number one receiver. Rusky says I'd say the Lions or the Steelers. Steelers is an interesting one. Nicholas says New Orleans, Cleveland, or Houston. A return back to the Houston Texans. OMG Gerald, another sneaky team. The Vikings, maybe. John says the 49ers. Let's see. I see the Bills, the Giants, the Saints, among others. So thanks for checking in the chat, everybody. Q&A mailbag time. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, you get to the very front of the line. Your questions get asked first. In particular, I want to know what free agent questions that you guys have. What is on your mind of some free agent targets, of some players that are still out there in free agency, of where you think they could ultimately end up at this point in time? Tell me what you think of some guys that come to mind, anybody for that matter. Use the hashtag NFL in particular. Want to hear about what you guys have to say in regards to free agent targets. That'll be the main focus on this next Q&A mailbag. Questions, hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get to the front of the line. Trace, we all good? All right, let's go ahead, Trace. Right, bet US, but no NBA. Right. So, all right, here we go. Let's get after it. Mailbag time here on NFL Daily. Mailbag time here on NFL Daily. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we react to the questions you send us, a part of our live shows that we do on Monday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, where you guys use the hashtag NFL or Super Chat. We answer your questions in real time. And you may be saying to yourself, well, how do I get to be a part of a mailbag? Well, if you subscribe, then you know when we'll go live on the channel. Right now, we are at 336,000 subscribers on the channel, getting so close to 337,000 subscribers, but we need your help to get there. Subscribe now for free, be a part of our live shows and our mailbags, and we'll answer your questions here on the channel. Let's get started with today's show. First question from NFL Fan Zone wants to know, can the Giants, the G-Men, sign DeAndre Hopkins? Can they? The money is tight. There's only a few teams that can pay DeAndre Hopkins the $15 million that he is wanting to be paid, according to reports that were out there. You look at this Giants team, Daniel Jones needs all the help he can get. You add another weapon to that receiving corps. DeAndre Hopkins would make a lot of sense for New York, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he ends up with the New York Giants. They're not really a part of the equation, it seems, right now, but obviously that could change. Choppy71 says D-Hop to the Panthers. Now, what we've been told about DeAndre Hopkins and what he's looking for at this point in time is a balance between getting paid and going to a contending team. Panthers are a long ways off from there. Now, they might have the money to potentially make that work, but does anyone expect anything out of the Carolina Panthers in 2023? Absolutely not. So that would be a shocker. If D-Hop goes to the Panthers, he basically says he doesn't care about winning. So I don't see him going to Carolina. Next question from Ruski says, if the Dolphins don't get Cook, should they keep Haheem or Gaskin or let them go and draft another running back next year or sign their UDFA running back the Dolphins got, name being Carl Brooks, off of BYU? So that's a great question. You look at the Miami Dolphins entering 2023. That team has made some big steps the right direction. They've made a lot of progress what they've done with that roster entering this season. But the one hole that's there for Miami is that running back position. They'd like to get Dalvin Cook. That'd be nice. But if they do not, for whatever reason, then you're still weighing your options. Kareem Hunt is still out there. Zeke is still out there. I would think that the Dolphins, before this all wraps up and the season begins, they get somebody as far as that goes. Dalvin would be their number one choice, but I would be surprised if the running back room as it stands right now looks the same when the season begins. Miles M. says, who is the best free agent quarterback remaining? Well, let me give you 3 names to watch of free agent quarterbacks right now. The guy is technically retired at the moment, but he's still a phone call away, and I think he still wants to play football, and that's Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. Now, I've said for many years that when you get Matt Ryan out there, Matt Ryan does Matt Ryan things where he finds ways to screw up. That's, 28-3. Shout out to the Falcons many years ago. Matt Ryan finds ways to screw up. But if you are a team that, let's say you have an injury to a quarterback in the preseason or in camp, Matt Ryan's not a bad fallback option for somebody to call upon if you need a fill-in of some sort. So there's that option out there. Teddy Bridgewater is still there, and then there's a guy by the name of Carson Wentz as well. Those are the guys we're watching for at this point, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Matt Ryan coming back if something were to happen to a team if they lose their starter and they're looking for a veteran. It wasn't too long ago that Matt Ryan was the MVP and was playing in a Super Bowl. Watch out. To me, there's still an outside chance Matt Ryan potentially plays in 2023. Will Matt Ryan play anywhere this season? What do you think? Tell us in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no. Will we see Matt Ryan come back? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no are pinned. Comment today. You might get an ad break, if so take advantage of it. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, N for no. Daniel says, DeAndre Hopkins to the Cowboys makes so much sense, but with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, they said it's unlikely. You look at the way the Dallas Cowboys traditionally do business, this is a team that does not like to spend in free agency. This is an organization that prioritizes the draft and by trades. They don't really like to sign guys and go that route. And so, not signing DeAndre Hopkins is par for the course. And if you're a Cowboys fan, it's unfortunate because you look at this Cowboys team and, Dak, I think, is still a top 10 quarterback in this league. I know that's controversial, but I'll still abide by that. I think Dak is just fine. CeeDee Lamb is a talented receiver, one of the best in the league. You got Tony Pollard, of course, at the running back position. You are looking for another weapon to put this team where they need to be to compete among the best in the NFC. DeAndre Hopkins could be that guy. It's a shame that they're likely not going to get DeAndre Hopkins because they very well should go get DeAndre Hopkins. It's unfortunate. I'm with you, Daniel, but that's the nature of the beast, it seems. Junior says the Patriots signed Marcus Peters. Well, you look at what the Patriots are at right now. Prior to the draft, signing Marcus Peters would have made a lot of sense because they were looking for another option outside of Jonathan Jones and the outside of the corner spot. Now that you've drafted Christian Gonzalez, who has caught everybody's attention throughout rookie minicamp and OTAs, the stud out of the University of Oregon, there's not really a place necessarily for Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters is looking to still be a starting outside corner in the NFL. He wouldn't be that in New England. And last year, when he came back from injury, Marcus Peters showed a bit of decline. I think he's still got something left in this league, although he's not the player that he was a couple of years ago. But New England is not going to be that place. They got better options than Marcus Peters as far as that goes. Today's show is presented by the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports, BetUS, where you can get a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free at chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. You can bet on the NBA Finals. You can bet on the NHL Stanley Cup Finals as well, whether it's some golf, maybe it's some motorsports, whatever you're feeling. Baseball, want to bet on your favorite MLB team? We got you covered. We got your game at chatsports.com/bet. And when you get that 125% deposit bonus, that's like putting $100 down and getting $125 to spend for free. It's a great deal. Get yours now. Get your bets in today at chatsports.com/bet. NFL Fan Zone says the Giants signed Dalton Risner. Could be possible. Dalton Risner, I'm surprised, is still available in this free agent market. Last year played for the Denver Broncos. Very good leader in the locker room. I know his PFF numbers weren't over the top by any stretch of the imagination, but of all the problems with the Denver Broncos in 2022, I don't think Dalton Risner was necessarily one of those as far as I'm concerned. The Giants looking for help potentially in the inside of the offensive line. Dalton Risner could be a good fit. I like Dalton Risner. That'd be a good pickup for that team there. GM Evan Henders with the Boise State avatar, shouting out the blue turf of the Broncos, says Kareem Hunt to Foxborough to play with the Pats. Kareem Hunt's still available out there, and if you recall, Kareem Hunt, his rookie year when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, led the league in rushing. Well, since he went to the Cleveland Browns, he's been the number 2 running back behind Nick Chubb there. And so one thing to think about, although Kareem Hunt is in his 5th, 6th, 7th year in the league, something like that, his legs are relatively fresh because he hasn't had to take on the load of a number 1 running back. And you look at that New England Patriots team, sure, you got Ramondre Stevenson there, the running back that had over 1,000 yards and was a star back at Oklahoma, but they're still looking for a second option. Kareem Hunt might be the right fit for that. I think Kareem Hunt, although he is a head case, he comes with a lot of problems, both off the field, what's happened with him. New England might be a potential good fit for Kareem Hunt as far as that goes. Where will Frank Clark sign, says Sir Saint? Well, that is a great question, Sir Saint, as far as where Frank Clark could go. His old teams, the Seahawks and the Chiefs, obviously are still part of the discussion. The Bears seem like they could be a good fit. Cleveland could be a good fit. Atlanta, San Francisco. Those are just a few teams off the top of my head. Frank Clark will play somewhere. Kind of like what we talked about Kareem Hunt. He does come with baggage involved. And since 2012, he's been arrested 4 times. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings for each arrest that has occurred in his NFL career. So, or since 2012, that is. So he could sign somewhere. I don't expect him to cost a whole lot, quite frankly. Where will Frank Clark sign in free agency? Tell us where you think in the comment section below, where ultimately you will think he will sign. Final question from Dat1 Falcons fan. Can we start taking my team seriously? We have a shot at making the divisional round with Ritter under center. We are going 12-5. Prove me wrong. Okay. We can take your team seriously. I think the Falcons are the favorites in the NFC South, but I can't project your team going 12-5. That's where I can't take you seriously, Dat1 Falcons fan. Desmond Ritter, I think he passed the eye test last year for Atlanta. I'm excited to see what he can do in year 2. You bring in Bijan Robinson. That was a big deal, along with some of your other talent like Kyle Pitts and company. Falcons have a bright future ahead. I think Arthur Smith is a very good head coach. Falcons are going to be a force to be reckoned with. They should win that division. But a division crown for the Falcons should be at about a 9 or 10 win record. 12-5, it had to get very lucky for that to happen. Let's be real with y'all. That's not happening there. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebook Zuck site, at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there, and I'll see you next time right here on NFL Daily. Have a great one. All right, 2 segments down, 2 to go. Next up, we're talking Dalvin Cook top destinations of where he could go. Let's talk Frank Clark. We asked you earlier where he will sign in free agency. Going back over the comments, Nicholas says Frank Clark will play in the CFL. Don't see that happening, but nice troll job there. Where else? Let us know where you guys think Frank Clark is going to end up. Trace, I named a few teams there. Where do you think he ultimately signs?
I think Frank Clark could be headed to down to the Big Easy and end up in New Orleans. I think that's a team to be looking out for because they do want to add some depth to that defensive line. They want to, give Cam Jordan a little extra veteran help along that defensive front. So I think that the team to watch out for is the Saints. Bleacher Report and ESPN both suggesting the Saints go and sign Frank Clark. So I think that's a team to keep your eyes out for is New Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans, that's a possibility. Could be a good fit there. Not a bad choice. NFL Fan Zone says Clark to the Giants. NFL Fan Zone suggesting everybody's going to be a Giant. Starting to sound like Will Scott with the Dolphins there.
I was going to say, he's a Giant.
Let's see. Richard says Frank Clark to the Bears. Nicholas says the XFL. Okay, Nicholas is really trolling here. Let's see. Where else? We got Laura says the Pats. Okay. So there's a few ideas potentially out there. By the way, the Chiefs at the White House today with the president. That's going on. Speaking of the Chiefs, certainly thinking of the Norma Clark who passed away, the wife of the Chiefs founder Lamar Hunt, and obviously founded the AFL as well. Certainly send our thoughts and best wishes out to the Chiefs organization and their fans through this time. Next up, let's get to Dalvin Cook destinations. Rich, I see your comment. I'll just laugh. I'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. I won't say anything else. I don't want to get in trouble. Dalvin Cook top destinations coming up next. I got a couple teams where I ultimately think he could go, and we'll get our thoughts on that coming up next here on this live edition of NFL Daily. Trace, we all good? All right, here we go. Welcome in, NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Coming up on today's show, we have the top destinations for Dalvin Cook. We don't know if he's going to be traded or released, but nonetheless, we have a list of teams that are the best fits of where he's most likely to go whenever his future is ultimately decided. We'll go over that and more coming up in just a moment. Before we do, now's your chance to tell us. Before we reveal our list, give us your list. Where will Dalvin Cook play this season? Tell me in the comments section. Give me one team where you think he will end up, and let me know in the comment section below. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the top 5 teams in order of most likely to acquire Dalvin Cook and go over that situation. We'll break that down here in just a second. Before we do, let's kind of set the scene for you on Dalvin Cook here. With Dalvin Cook, the Vikings are currently seeking a trade for Dalvin Cook. So far, the phone has not been ringing. Nobody has been interested in trading for a running back that's in the back end of his prime and that's owed about $10.5 million this year. $2 million of that is guaranteed. The thought is that if nobody takes on Dalvin Cook through trade, then you could have him released, and then a team could sign him for less than the $10 million and not to have to give up anything for him. So it's kind of like playing a game of chicken at this point. We're just waiting to see ultimately what the outcome is going to be for the former 4-time Pro Bowler as far as that goes. The numbers on Dalvin Cook, although he is getting older, his numbers are still very good. Last year with over 1,100 yards and 4.4 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Those numbers were better than what we saw in 2021, where he had 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then you can see back in 2020 and 2019, he was spectacular in those seasons with 16 touchdowns and with 13 touchdowns in those seasons. So, without further ado, here is the list. We begin with the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, number 1 on this list. Not in our hearts, though. The Dolphins top our list of most likely destinations for Dalvin Cook. And for me, it comes down to two reasons, okay? The Dolphins are desperate. They are trying to contend in the AFC right now. They need all the help they can get. And two, it's Dalvin Cook's hometown. He's from Miami. So it makes sense for Dalvin Cook to go to a contending team in a place that he calls home. Sounds like a match made in heaven, right? There's one caveat, though, through this. It sounds like the Dolphins have no interest in a trade that would have to be solely through free agency. More from the Miami Herald's Barry Jackson. I have been led to believe it's not a done deal. Could Cook end up here? Absolutely. It's certainly a real possibility. If he's cut by Minnesota, there would be interest on both sides. But from my understanding, there's not some secret agreement between the two parties. The depth chart for the Dolphins, as you can see on your screen right now, Dalvin Cook, without question, would be your number one running back ahead of Raheem Mostert for that spot. That he would be that guy immediately. Some of the other teams we're going to talk about on our list today, Dalvin Cook would not necessarily be the top running back. He would be sharing carries, a split back. If he goes into Miami, he is the guy leading the way for this offense as far as that goes. So, what do you think? What are the chances that you give the Dolphins of signing Dalvin Cook? Scale it for me 1 through 10, the likelihood that Dalvin Cook ultimately ends up in Miami or not. Tell me what you think, 1 through 10, what the chances are of that happening. Next on our list is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they moved on from Ezekiel Elliott. He was released. And Tony Pollard is coming off the leg injury. And so you wonder about his status. You did bring in Deuce Vaughn, and it was spectacular of them to get Deuce Vaughn. I got a lot of high hopes for Deuce Vaughn and what he can do at this level of the National Football League. But if you're looking for a placeholder, a guy for just right now, Dalvin Cook could be a very good fit. And the Cowboys, much like we talked about with the Miami Dolphins, are in win-now mode. They are all in for right now. If you're that team that needs a couple running backs, we know Mike McCarthy wants to run the football. Got to have multiple guys to do that. Dalvin Cook could be a very good fit for Dallas. Not to mention, Dallas has money to spend as well. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, enter the promo code CHAT125, you will get a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free. It's like buying a pizza and then getting an extra pizza and a couple slices. Great deal, courtesy of BetUS at chatsports.com/bet. Odds for the NBA Finals between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat, where things stack up right now. Denver at minus 280. Value on a Miami with the series tied up at 1 apiece at plus 240. If you want to bet on that, maybe you want to bet on some MLB, or maybe you want to bet on the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, or some soccer action going on this summer, motorsports, whatever you're feeling. Chatsports.com/bet is the place to be. Chat125 is the promo code at checkout. Get your bets in today. Third on our list is a team within the division of the Minnesota Vikings. That is the Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears have more money to spend than any other team in the NFL. And you look at the Bears and you see with that running back room, Khalil Herbert, not bad. Roshan Johnson, not bad. Foreman, also not bad. Travis Homer, mid. You know, they're looking for that breakaway back. And you put Dalvin Cook in that Bears offense, no question about it. He is the leading running back for the Chicago Bears. And if you're looking to take the load off Justin Fields, if you want him to have a guy he can depend upon, Dalvin Cook would be a good fit for that. They would be a nice 1-2 punch for a team that wants to run the football. And we already know what they've invested at the receiver position. You put Fields together with Dalvin Cook, that could be a very good bromance between those two. Watch out for the Chicago Bears. And that might put the team over the edge to be a playoff contender. We already know about that division is going to be down this year. The Lions are the favorites, but the Bears aren't far off. Are the Bears going to make the playoffs? Could Dalvin Cook be the difference in the Bears making the postseason? Let us know what you think in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. will the Bears make the playoffs or not? Tell us what you think in the comment section below. Folks, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel as we're bringing you NFL updates each and every day from across the National Football League with all 32 teams. Daily news and rumors segments, live shows on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Also, on the channel, we do our Red Zone coverage for every NFL Sunday as well as we tell you about what's happening throughout every game in the National Football League. If you love the NFL, if you want the latest happenings from across the league, this is the channel for you. Subscribe today, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did. Number 4 on our list is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, unlike the other teams that we've talked about, Dalvin Cook would not be the starter in San Francisco. But hear me out on this. You look at this Niners team, they love to run the football. And you got to have multiple running backs in today's NFL. No secret about it. You have Christian McCaffrey there, and McCaffrey was spectacular for San Francisco last year. But here's something to think about. Hear me out on this, folks. Is we've seen McCaffrey, dating back to his days with Carolina, deal with a lot of injuries. And not only do you have to have multiple running backs to be successful in today's NFL, but what if you paired up McCaffrey and Cook to relieve the load off McCaffrey? Or if McCaffrey gets hurt, you got a back that you can depend on. To me, that would be a dynamic duo if you put those together. Purdy expected to be back. We know about their receivers with Deebo Samuel and company there. And not to mention, you wouldn't have to run the ball with Deebo as much either. And we know that Deebo doesn't want to run nearly as much as he's had previously. George Kittle and company, watch out for San Francisco. That would be a really good fit. Last on our list is the New England Patriots. And the Patriots, of course, already have Ramondre Stevenson. He is going to be their number 1 running back, and he's coming off a year where he had over 1,000 yards rushing. But there's questions about James Robinson's status as far as how healthy he could be. They might be looking for another running back option as far as that goes. Look out for New England potentially to bring in Dalvin Cook, and we've seen what Belichick has done with the run game, traditionally by committee there. Could be a win-win for all parties involved there to have Dalvin Cook. So, there you have it. Encourage you to subscribe to the channel. And also, I want to know what team would be the best fit for Dalvin Cook. Tell me what you think in the comment section, what the best fit would be. We've talked about teams that we think are the most likely to sign him. What do you think makes the most sense? Give me the best fit for Dalvin Cook in the comments section. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. That's where you can find me there. And I'll see you right back here next time here on NFL Daily. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, we got one more segment, another mailbag on the way. I want to know some trade ideas. Give me some trade candidates, some players that you think could be playing elsewhere. Tell us in the comments section. Meanwhile, and on the trade ideas, use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get your questions in. What team would be the best fit for Dalvin Cook? That's who we're asking. Yeah, I see OMG Gerald says he's not going to play for the Bears. Let's see. Allen says Dallas. Lore says the 49ers. Ruski says the Dolphins. Rich says the Chargers, although they're not trading Eckler. You put those two together, that'd be interesting. Let's see. What else going on, Trace? Oh, your baseball team's losing. They lose to TCU? Oh, no. Trace is a big Arkansas Razorback fan, and things aren't going well. Are you getting shade from Harry over there?
No, I was throwing shade myself. I was throwing shade to my own hog so that way no one else could.
Okay.
I was like, hey,
beat him to the punchline. Very good.
TCU's hot as shit. They're hotter than the sun. Arkansas's not. Be like that.
Oh, poor guy. Pour one out for Trizzy.
Sports.
Right?
It giveth and taketh away.
Where's Dalvin Cook go?
I think Dalvin Cook's a Dolphin.
I do
too. It feels like it's gone on too damn long for it to not end up with him in Miami. Like, he's going to find himself in South Beach, I feel like. It would be stupid for him to go to anywhere else, to be honest. At least if I'm Dalvin Cook, I'd want to go there.
Hey, Will Scott.
Hey, Will.
I got something for you. Dalvin Cook, he's a Dolphin. He's a Dolphin. That's the consensus here in NFL Daily. Dalvin Cook, he's a Dolphin. Got a question for our final mailbag of the day. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to skip the line. And we're asking in particular for your trade questions. If you got trade ideas for us, send it our way. We'd love to hear from you in our mailbag segment we'll get to coming up in a matter of moments. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to skip the line. And we'll get started coming up in just a few moments from right now. Let's see. What else? I see Lore's getting questions in. Nicholas getting questions in. Very good work, guys. The Super Chats get you to the front of the line. So I'd love to hear from you guys as we get started there. I see Ruski using the hashtag NFL as well. Trace, we all good? All right. Let's get after it. Mailbag time. We'll take your questions now for our final segment here on this Monday afternoon. NFL Daily coming up in a moment. Before we do, folks, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. We do live shows each and every week, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And you guys could get your questions to me on our mailbags using hashtag NFL or Super Chatting. We react to your questions in real time. That's where this segment comes from. Subscribe for free today. Turn on notifications. We'll get started with today's show. It is a Q&A mailbag here on NFL Daily where it's your chance to direct where this show goes, where you can ask anything and everything using that hashtag NFL, or if you Super Chat, you get to the front of the line and we'll answer whatever questions you guys have. Let's get started with NFL Fan Zone writing in Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the New York Football Giants. Well, the only way I would see the Giants looking at this move is if they decided to move on from Saquon Barkley. Don't think that happens. Although the Kansas City Chiefs, and rightfully so, have been frustrated with CEH, with how things have gone for the former first-round pick out of LSU, I don't see it happening of him going to New York. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be capable of bringing in CEH. I know that he's dealt with the injuries, but if he can stay healthy, you're looking at a guy that could be a very good pass catcher, that could help out in offense. The talent with Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not the issue. It's his availability that he's been lacking there. I'd be surprised if he went to New York, but we'll see. Nicholas writes in, should the Bears trade for Chase Young or Daniel Hunter? Well, if you're the Bears, you got all that money to spend. You got a lot of capital. Depends on how serious you're in about being all in. If the Bears think that they're going to be a contender for that division in 2023 and want to win right now, go ahead and be aggressive and make moves for guys like Chase Young or Daniel Hunter, stuff like that. If Kevin Warren, the new president of the Chicago Bears, and that organization, if they're still laying their foundation saying, hey, this is still a 3, 4, 5-year plan, then maybe not right now. But that comes down to just where your mindset is. How invested are you in the present as opposed to the future? NFL Fan Zone says, Giants can't sign Saquon and then trade for Cook. It's not a bad alternative if you can't get a deal done with Saquon Barkley to go get Dalvin Cook if he's sitting in free agency. That is not a bad alternative potentially. I think the best scenario, though, for the Giants is to still find a way to bring back Saquon Barkley and get a long-term deal done of some sort. It's a 2 or 3 year deal and finish out his prime. I think that's your best hope if you're the New York Giants, is to find a way to keep Saquon there and not have to worry about Dalvin Cook. But if you can't get a deal done, not a bad alternative there, NFL Fan Zone. Jimmy with another Giants question. Feels like a Giants mailbag today. Any chance the Giants will trade Leonard Williams? Saw his name come up as a trade candidate. Yeah, so Leonard Williams could be potentially on the move from the New York Giants. It all depends on what the offers are out there. The Giants, unique position. They're in win-now mode. Maybe you want to hang on to Leonard Williams, but that to me is a name to watch. When we were laying out all the players this offseason that seemed to be trade candidates, all of their situations were sort of worked out, right? One way or the other, whether they ended up re-signing deals or they were traded elsewhere. And I guess Dalvin Cook is one of the big ones that's still waiting. But other than Dalvin Cook, Leonard Williams is the other one that we're kind of just still holding on to at this point. Yeah, we could see him moved on. I think more than likely, though, he stays with New York. Should the Giants trade Leonard Williams? What do you think? Should they trade Leonard Williams? What do you think in the comment section? Y for yes, in for no. Should they trade him or not? Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Next one. What are the 49ers trade targets? Well, the 49ers, it's very interesting, right? When you look at this San Francisco 49ers team, as stacked as they are. DeAndre Hopkins seems like an outside chance. Dalvin Cook, I don't think is a trade target. I don't think they're necessarily trading for him, but I could see them signing him if he's available in free agency. I don't think they necessarily have any trade targets. They're already a complete football team. I think they're waiting to see who's out there, potentially guys that could cut, that are there in free agency that makes sense to sign if they're still out there. And I'll say this, though, as far as one outside chance of trade targets, okay? If you're trying to get greedy, if you're San Francisco, the Chase Youngs, those types of the world, to even make the defense even better, if you can find a spot for them, that would be like a cheat code of some sorts. Ruski says, Chance Young, I think that means Chase Young, with Vic Fangio's defense, good Lord, good luck with offensive teams. So, again, I think that means Chase Young that he's referring to. Putting him in Miami. Vic Fangio is a very good defensive coordinator. Not a head coach, but a very good coordinator. And you look at what the Dolphins have already done with Jalen Ramsey and some of the other additions that they've made there. Miami is going to make some noise and wreak some havoc for some teams there. Watch out. That could be very fascinating if things go that way. NFL hats are on sale now. We have the flat bills, as you can see, from teams like Philadelphia, Atlanta, Denver, Miami, and all different styles. I love the throwback from the Broncos. I love this Dolphins one that's got the orange and the teal. How about this Seahawks one? The white with the neon. That's so clean, folks. Whatever your team is, we have hats for you. No need to fear. NFL hats are here for everybody. No matter what your team is, we got you covered. Right in time for Father's Day, too. Father's Day just around the corner. You know that Dad is going to be out there mowing the grass, and, he doesn't want to get sweat in his eyes and all that, so he needs to wear a hat, and he needs to represent his favorite team. Maybe he's on the golf course, needs a hat to wear. Get Dad one of these NFL hats now. Chatsports.com/NFL hats to get yours today while supplies last. All 32 teams covered. Get yours now. You'll be glad you did. Chatsports.com/NFL hats. Juan Hernandez says, how many games do you think Jimmy G will play? I'm not his doctor, so I can't give an exact answer. But I can at least speculate of some sorts. Okay? I'll do my best. So the Raiders have said, at least internally, that they think Jimmy G is going to be okay for when the season starts. That's what they say. Now, that could very well be a smokescreen out there, but at least that's what they're telling us. But Jimmy G, traditionally speaking, struggles to stay healthy. So even if, let's give the Raiders the benefit of the doubt and say that Jimmy G is able to be available week 1, you can't count on him to play all 17 games this year. I'm not going to put an exact number on how many he'll play, but count me shocked if he plays the entire season. We'll put it that way. And the Raiders, not to mention, have bad offensive line issues, where they'll, have issues protecting the quarterback as is. I'll be surprised if Jimmy G makes it through the whole year. GM Evan Hinder says, Quan Alexander to Minnesota. Wouldn't that be something? Minnesota, I think, has had a bad offseason. I think, if you look at some of the losers in the NFL this offseason, the Minnesota Vikings would be some of the biggest losers on this list. Of some of the mistakes that they've made, and you look at everyone around the league trying to get better, The Vikings are one of the teams that have gotten worse this offseason. A big year for them last year, right? They won a ton of games, won their division, broke through, beat Aaron Rodgers and company, and yet they had nothing to show for it, and now they're taking steps back. I'm very disappointed in that Minnesota Vikings team at this point. They need all the help they can get. Last question from Junior says, if the Patriots sign DeAndre Hopkins, actually we'll have one more question after this. If the Patriots sign DeAndre Hopkins, will the Patriots trade or keep Devontae Parker or Kendrick Bourne? So one of the things that we've been talking about on our new channel, Patriots Today by Chat Sports, is the wide receiver position for New England. And the thought has been in New England's camp that, look, Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, good receivers, but not great receivers. And the idea has been that Belichick not happy with Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker kind of on the chopping block of some sorts. They would like to upgrade the position. It's a good receiving group, but it's not a great receiving group. So, yes, if the Patriots do bring in DeAndre Hopkins, then somebody's got to go. Whether it's Devontae Parker or Kendrick Bourne, I would say it's more likely Kendrick Bourne, but one of them will be out of there, I would think, if they do bring in D-Hop. Last one. What are the odds Titans move on from Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill before the season begins? Well, I'll say this. Let's start with Tannehill. If the Titans, and I think the Titans are in a rebuild mode, if the Titans are all in on moving towards their future, okay, and they like what they see from Will Levis, they could very well trade Ryan Tannehill and start the Will Levis era early, right? I think Tannehill's more likely to get moved than Derrick Henry. Now, Derrick Henry, in his case, the way his contract's structured and everything there in Tennessee, Derrick Henry is only going to be there at least just this year, okay? They're not bringing him back next year. So if you're Tennessee, you have to decide, do we go ahead and keep Derrick Henry and play this year and let him go for nothing, or do you go ahead and trade him and try to get something out of him while you can? So I would say it's more likely that Tannehill goes, but I'm not ruling out the possibility that either one could go before the season begins. The Titans have had a weird offseason. New management there, a lot of question marks about that team entering 2023. The problem with the Titans, I'll kind of wrap this all up on this, is they don't have an identity. The Titans don't know who they are, okay? You look at life and, you say, I want to be a firefighter or, I want to be a lawyer or whatever. The Titans, they don't know what type of football team they want to be. And they're in an identity crisis. So that's at the core of their issue here. Do you want to rebuild? Do you want to be a contending team? They don't have an answer for that. We'll see what they do. Pick one to trade. Who's more likely to go? Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill? Type DH for Derrick Henry. Type RT for Ryan Tannehill. Let me know which one you think is more likely to be moved. All right. There you have it. 4 segments in the books here on NFL Daily. Fun show today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll put the sub link in the chat right now so you can be a part of what we're doing here on the channel. We asked you guys, Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry. So far, Laura says Ryan Tannehill there. Trace, that Titans team, they're confusing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they want to do.
I mean, depending on how Will Levis looks and how that, his development, takes place, I could see the Titans being comfortable moving away from Ryan Tannehill because I think that you do have some value with Derrick Henry still. That being said, you definitely get better trade return for Derrick Henry. So there is an argument for both to be made, but I think if they traded one, it would be Ryan.
Well, and think about this, kind of like what we talked about if Matt Ryan comes back.
Yep.
If there's a team that has an injury of some sorts and the Titans feel comfortable with Levis, then it very well could make sense to move on from Tannehill there. We got to go. Thanks for joining us, spending part of your Monday afternoon here on NFL Daily. We will see you next time here on the channel. Have a great one.